Foundation conducts a scholarship competition amongst our Catholic high school junior students. Each school submits one nomination based upon academic achievement, community and church involvement, and leadership. Each nominee writes an essay illustrating what their Catholic education means to them. Nominees are judged by a panel from the Board of Trustees and Advisory Council members, and each nominee receives a $500 scholarship towards their senior year. And the winning Catholic Foundation scholar receives a $5,000 scholarship for their senior year. Maria Rossini from the Highlands was last year's winner. I think they're over there. And Maria tells me she's been accepted at the University of Dallas and at Millsap. And she's still waiting responses from Yale, University of Chicago, Rhodes, and Notre Dame. Our 2015 Catholic Foundation Scholar is a junior at Cistercian Preparatory School. Described by his form master, Father Joseph Van House, Father says, the secret to understanding this student is understanding his relationship to his family, to his school, and to his church, all of which are inseparably intertwined. He's highly involved as a leader at Cistercian Preparatory School, receiving numerous academic and school participation awards. Aside from his participation in student government, varsity track and cross country, to name a few, he's also an altar server, Latin tutor, maintenance worker at Cistercian, on the liturgical committee, and he's the Pro-Life Club co-president. Please join me in congratulating this year's Catholic Foundation Scholar, Mr. Patrick Andrews.
Bishop Farrell, Bishop Deschatel, Bishop Kelly, Father Abbot Peter, Catholic Foundation board members, various honorable clergy and laity, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, Father Denis. I'm honored by the Catholic Foundation's award and eager to build on their hopes for me and for so many other young people. I'm grateful not only for the very welcome gift of a scholarship, nor for simply prestige of the award itself. I'm gratified most by something more than even those two wonderful honors. To receive an award alongside Father Denis is what strikes me to the heart. He's an incredible man, whom I respect and admire greatly. And this award has given me the opportunity to get to know him much better. I'm sure you will hear tonight many stories of his life, so I won't tell you what he has meant for me personally. I've had several long conversations with Father Denis before tonight. We have talked about many things, from school to hobbies, to prayer, to vocation. And already I can sincerely say that he has become for me a mentor, an example, and a dear friend. I feel young at 17, and I'm looking down the long and hazy path of life to see what it may hold. But my eyes have met Father Denis. His eyes look upon the same path, but from the other end, with wisdom born of prayer and perseverance. We have been meeting twice a week to translate St. Bernard from Latin together. And that has become one of the sources of learning, strength, and joy that I look forward to every week. St. Bernard knew, as if he were present at the Annunciation, just how much everything turned on Mary's response to the angel, how all of human history turned its eyes to her. Father Denis' own answer to God's call has drawn all our eyes, and mine not the last. And so I thank the Catholic Foundation not only for the very generous scholarship, but also for prompting me to encounter this man, this monk, and this friend. I also want to thank the Cistercian School, which has given me so much, and which Father Denis helped create. I want to thank all my classmates who came out tonight to support me, and I want to thank my family, who have supported and taught me much in my life. Lastly, to see with clarity God's providence at work is a great grace. And we need to thank him for giving this city such a monk as Father Denis. Thank you.
You guys like the Cistercian stuff, don't you? Well, thank you, Patrick, for those inspiring words, and congratulations and best wishes for your senior year. Please join me now in welcoming our Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Ms. Vicki Latner.
Thank you, Matt, and thank all of you for joining us tonight to celebrate philanthropy in the 34th Annual Catholic Foundation Award. This is the preeminent award bestowed in the Catholic diocese to honor an individual or family that lives their faith, serves their community, and is an example to all of us. But just for one moment, I have to make a few remarks about the Catholic Foundation. I submit to you that most everyone in this room has been touched by the Catholic Foundation. You may have a donor-advised fund that you do your charitable giving through, or you may have left a legacy gift in your will where the foundation will execute your philanthropy wishes after you're gone. Or you may be on a board or an employee of a church, an organization, or a parish that has been a beneficiary of a grant from the foundation. Or you may be a student or a parent of a student who's received tuition assistance or a scholarship from the foundation. Or you may be a teacher who's received the Work of Heart Award. Or you may have written a check to the foundation to fulfill your Our Faith, Our Future campaign pledge or your church capital campaign pledge. The foundation, I have people say to me, what does a foundation do? The foundation is like any other community foundation or charitable fund. And some of that you will probably be very familiar with is the Dallas Foundation, Communities Foundation of Texas, the Dallas Women's Foundation, and some of the charitable funds that you're probably familiar with is the Fidelity Charitable and Bank of America Charitable Gift Fund. Just put simply, what we all do is you make a donation to the community foundation or the charitable fund, and then you can recommend a grant request to the SPCA, the Symphony, your child's school, your college alma mater, as long as it's a legitimate charitable organization. And like us, these foundations and these charitable funds charge a fee to manage the money, invest the money, and to make those grant distributions. But there's one big difference. The Catholic Foundation, when they consider grants from their unrestricted funds, it is only for organizations that benefit the Catholic community in the Dallas diocese. So, it's like giving back to the community twice. The more profitable the foundation, the more money available to grant back into the community. And as Matt told you the numbers, over 15 million last year granted through 1,000 charitable grants. So join your friends and compound your charitable giving. And if you want to learn more about this, in your program tonight is a card that we'd love for you to fill out, and there's a pin on the table for your convenience. Okay, for now, why we're really here tonight, the real important reason why we're here tonight, is to recognize an individual who is worthy of the Catholic Foundation Award for exemplary services to our Catholic community. Father Abbot Denis Farkasfalvy is our 34th nominee. And one of the traditions of tonight's event has been that the Catholic Foundation to make a $10,000 grant in honor of the awardee and to his favorite charity. And Father Abbot Denis has chosen this $10,000 grant to be awarded to the Valley of Our Lady Cistercian Monastery. And here to accept that award is Father Abbot Peter Verhalen.
The Cistercian nuns in Wisconsin are a cloistered community of nuns, and so Mother Bernarda could not be here to receive the grant, but she did ask that I receive it in her name and express her deep, deep gratitude to Father Denis, and most especially to the Catholic Foundation. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Jim Maroney, publisher and CEO of A.H. Belo, and publisher and CEO of Dallas Morning News. Jim has known Father Abbot Denis since 1965 when he entered Cistercian Preparatory School. Father Abbot Denis was Jim's farm master throughout the 9 years at Cistercian. He also married Barbara and Jim and baptized their children as well. And I would just like to extend a heartfelt thanks to Barbara and Jim. What a record turnout. Congratulations.
If you are a grandparent, a parent, an alumnus, a student, a faculty member, past, present, staff, or monk of Cistercian, stand up right now. All of you. This is the largest gathering of the Cistercian family in its more than 50-year history. We don't get out that much, but when we do, we really do it well. And by the way, Billy, happy 60th birthday wherever you are. This is a day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. That might seem like sort of an odd way to begin a talk about the person that's being honored tonight. Because maybe I should have said, today is a day that Abbot Denis has made, and let us rejoice and be glad. But you know, I really think we should say, this is a day the Lord has made, and let us rejoice and be glad, because if I've learned one thing from my more than 50 years of being able to live around the Cistercians, they will tell you that everything that you are, and everything that you have, and everything that you achieve comes from God. It would be at this point normally, this is for all my Cistercian friends, that Father Denis would say, "Oh, Jim, you have finally gotten something right." So for a few minutes before you see the wonderful video and hear from Father Denis, I want to touch on a couple of reasons of why Father Denis is our honoree tonight. I want to relate a couple of stories and end with a personal reflection. There are two themes as to why our honoree is who it is tonight. One is about the prep school, and the other is about the Abbey. Let me talk first about the prep school. And I'm going to do it in the words of one of the Hungarians who was there at the beginning and who related this to me privately. Father Denis, he said, through the years, saved the prep school. During the tenure of the headmaster who preceded Father Denis, the prep school was crumbling, close to total collapse. When Father Denis became headmaster, he pulled the school from the ashes and with a heroic effort built it up into a strong institution. I know that Father Denis, by the force of his unbending will and his unflagging determination, indeed did save the Cistercian prep school. You can ask any of the monks who were there at the time, and I heard it directly from Brian Smith, and I heard it from my father. This act of saving the prep school and beginning it on a path of academic excellence while maintaining the spirituality that is its culture would alone make Father Denis a deserving honoree tonight. At the opening of the prep school in 1962, Bishop Gorman said that the Cistercian Preparatory School should one day be a jewel in the crown of the church's educational ministry. Abbot Peter said to me, it was Father Denis who set the jewel in its place. Now let me turn to the Abbey. I recall many discussions that we had at one time about what would the Cistercian prep school be like without the monks. For those of us who were in the early years of Cistercian prep school, we couldn't imagine the school without the monks. There were always so many of them teaching the classes as form masters and in the hallways. And yet at one time, as the Hungarian monks were aging and there were very few vocations coming to the Abbey, the Cistercian prep school without the monks seemed almost as certain as the mortality table. Let me turn again to one of the Hungarian monks who was there at the beginning, Father Julius, and this is how he put it. Around 2000, we experienced a vocation crisis. We always had novices, but the novitiate seemed to be a revolving door. Novices came, then they left. In desperation, Father Denis, as abbot, prayed to Father Lawrence, who had been our novice master in Hungary and who, when we were novices, was head of all the Hungarian Cistercians because Abbot Wendelin was in prison. Father Denis prayed to Father Lawrence to intercede for vocations and send us good novices. Of course, being Father Denis, he was very specific in his prayer. He asked Father Lawrence to send us 5 good novices and to get it done in 10 years. Lo and behold, at Father Lawrence's intercession, God sent us 10 excellent vocations in 5 years. At that point, Father Julius said, there is no end to God's generosity, and I think he was right. He concluded by saying this: when Father Denis became abbot, the Abbey was in pretty bad shape. As abbot, Father Denis single-handedly developed our liturgy, built the church with the help of our alumni, and put our finances on a solid basis. It was Father Denis's special talent, he said, of talking to young men, clarifying their vocation, and showing them what is important in life that led me to believe that most of our young vocations were not only the fruits of prayer, but of Father Denis's power of convincing. To this day, I am convinced that Father Denis saved the prep school not once, but twice. Once when he became headmaster, as I related earlier, but then a second time when he became abbot by putting the monastery on a firm financial footing and leading a renaissance in vocations. We can rationalize all we want about the prep school and what it would be like without the monks. But the simple truth is that the school is indivisible from the monks. Without the latter, the former is as empty of its character as it would be of its spirituality. Now I want to turn to a couple of stories, and one of the things I love about life is I always find that my heroes are not always perfect, and this apparently applies to Father Denis as well. When Father Denis was a seminarian in Rome in the 1950s, the seminarians practiced the devotion called culpa. It was public confession. All the seminarians would gather in the chapter room, the procurator abbot would come in, and the ceremony would start. And the abbot would ask each of them individually, "What do you say?" And the answer was, "Mea culpa," and then you inserted whatever your sin was, like I was running on the steps, or I forgot to sweep the hallways, and so forth. But when each seminarian finished his culpa, the abbot would give them a penance, and it turned out that every time the penance was exactly the same: 3 Hail Marys. It came to the attention of the abbot that the seminarian we know as Father Denis, who was described as having a sharp tongue. Who knew? Was critical of the penance that the abbot was giving, because no matter the sin, the penance was always 3 Hail Marys. Well, this criticism of his penance made its ways to the ears of the abbot, and the next time after Father Denis said aloud his mea culpa sin, the abbot said, "Your penance is 3 rosaries." That would be 150 Hail Marys, in case you haven't thought that through. On another occasion, in a winter time, Father Abbot Anselm and Father Denis went to a Cistercian's parent party at one of the